him, if he is here till the 20th over, Malaysia still has a chance to put up a really good total. So folks, stay tuned in for the entire match. Only 4 overs in. Plenty of action to come. Played down the ground to mid-on for a single by Virendeep Singh. Vinod in for his second over, and that's 4 runs. As I welcome my fellow commentator Sharad Swaminathan. Welcome, Sharad.
Thanks, Cash. Good to be here. Good day for cricket.
Yes, it seems like you brought a bit of a relief for the players, my friend. A big appeal as Shafiq tried to sweep that ball. You have brought a bit of respite here because I can't see the sun. It was quite hot when the match started.
Well, that's what Singapore does to you. A wild hoik there by Mohammad Shafiq. Singapore off to a really good start, 4.3, 17 for 2. If I was the coach for Singapore, I wouldn't be complaining at this point.
Yes, I totally agree, Sharath. Definitely a good start, but as I was mentioning just before you came in, it's still early days. As Vinod runs in. Played behind square, fine leg, sort of runs around for that single. If Virendeep Singh stays to the end, I'm not sure if you've seen him play before here locally in Singapore. He can launch them. He's a good bat.
That's a fantastic shot by Mohammad Shafiq. Took the risk. Something had to be done. And very brave to get a reverse sweep going, and he's got 4 runs for that.
Very well played indeed.
Coming back to your point, Cash, yes, no, I have seen Virendeep Singh. Absolutely, he's probably the 2 batsmen at the crease at the moment is probably their most dependable pair, going by history as well. So. If Singapore can get some inroads with these 2 batsmen, Malaysia is certainly going to be in trouble.
Yes, but for the sake of our viewers out there, I certainly hope this ends up being a good contest. As much as I'd like Singapore to make another breakthrough right now, I'd also love to see a good contest and a good fight, which usually always happens between these 2 teams, as we have a change of bowler.
Yep, young Janak Prakash back into the. He's bowling his first over for the game, and yeah, he's an exciting prospect for Singapore as he steams in. Starts off with a wide down the leg side. Janak, a very talented fast bowler. Came up through the ranks of the under-19 levels, but certainly usually when he starts off his spell has the issue of his wrist falling over and ball usually tending to go down the leg side, which he has struggled with in the recent past, but I'm sure a quality bowler like him will fix that.
Yes, but a very hard working young man.
Cramped him for space there. managed to sneak in one, Shafiq?
Yes, I was mentioning earlier, to me it also seems that the ball's holding off the wicket a bit, which is what's also resulting in those in them not getting the timing right.
Yeah, the Indian Association pitch at times can come off to be a bit of a two-paced wicket, and with T20 cricket you have bowlers bowling their change up. Well fielded of his own bowling. Yeah, because of the two-paced wicket, and considering it's hot and it's quite dry, the pitch tends to crack and open up just a tidy bit, which makes it a little bit difficult for batsmen. So it's really important that these two batsmen, Shafiq and Virendeep, once they've settled in, and in T20 you don't have that much time, but now that they've spent 21 balls altogether, it's critical for them to get Malaysia going to set up a good total.
Played down to mid-on for a dot ball. Yes, you're right. They're starting to build a bit of a partnership here. If these two can hang around for the best part of the rest of the innings, it will definitely be a competitive total. And I'm not personally very familiar with a lot of the Malaysian players, although I did commentate in the Standard Gaya Trophy last year. Well fielded there at covers.
Yeah, it's been a bit of a seesaw journey between Singapore and Malaysia. Singapore beat Malaysia during the SEA Games, during the round robin stage, when Malaysia got the better of them during the finals. But at the same time, during the Asia Cup qualifiers, Singapore got the better of Malaysia. So it looks like they're very evenly balanced, and it just depends on how each team performs on a particular day.
Just ran that down towards third man. Virendeep for another single. One ball to come in Janak's over. He's recovered well after that wide on the first ball.
Yeah, I'm sure he's pumped. He took the first two catches as well, so, and both of them are quality catches. So pretty sure he'd be wanting to really contribute with the ball as well. Bit of confusion there between the two batsmen, but all's well that ends well with Malaysia. Good pressure by the Singaporean fielders.
Indeed, that definitely ended up being a risky single because of that confusion. I think Shafiq did the right thing. Virendeep Singh should have just listened to his partner's call. I mean, that's something that at this level one would expect that to consistently happen.
Absolutely. So Cash, what would you do if you were in the Malaysian dugout at this point? Six overs gone, a precarious 28 for 2. What would you be telling your players at this point?
Look, at this stage, now that the power play is also done, I would definitely want them to continue to keep rotating strike, and then just look to put away the loose ones. I mean, really just follow basics. Still 14 overs to come, and even at a 120 plus, if you can get there.
Yeah, I think Malaysia will do really well to get to a score of between 120 to 140. One thing that Singapore bowlers have really improved on is their consistency. They keep hitting the right length. They don't try too much, and they just try keeping it very consistent and help making the batsman make the mistake.
As Shafiq
Goes for a big hoik and he's caught at long on. And this is what I keep saying, where Singapore has really improved is they've started to become very consistent with their bowling. They keep it there and thereabouts, and they make the batsmen go for the big shots, just like what Shafiq did right now, and they get the wickets that way.
Was that Janak again? Was that catch taken by Janak again? Here we see the replay. That catch was taken by Surinder, the dashing hard hitter for Singapore. His home ground as well, Singapore Indian Association. I've seen him launch many a sixes just hanging in his crease. It's a treat to watch when he gets going.
So you've had one stalwart in Shafiq go, and you've got Faiz come in now, who's also another senior member as part of this Malaysian setup. 28 for 3 after 6.2 overs. Salador, 2 for none.
Doing well.
He's probably bowled every single ball in the same spot.
Yes, we're about to find out.
That's the first run of Salador's bowling. He's certainly been someone who's kept things tight for Singapore and throughout their T20 journey, and the Singapore team really looks up to him to contain the batsman whenever he comes into bowl.
Yes, and if I'm not wrong, he recently took a 9-4. Was that him? Okay, I've just been informed by one of our local umpires here, well-known umpires here, Richie Abraham, that wasn't him.
So Malaysia in a bit of a sticky situation here. Singapore's got, if you think about the Singapore setup at this point, they're extremely batting heavy, and they've got really strong depth in their batting. It's really key for Malaysia to put up a good total on the board.
Yes, Sharat, I'd have to agree with you 100% on that one. My apologies, it's Sharon, folks. I've kept calling my friend here Sharat. It is the first time that we have met, so I'm sure he will forgive me.
Oh, absolutely. Come on. Intentions are always clean.
Indeed. As we see the supporters out there in the pavilion, I can see Chetan Suriwanshi's dad, Rohan Rangarajan's dad, and I think it must be Timothy's family over there watching as well. Singapore women's team captain is also watching there.
Really good setup here at the IA. So if you're close by, do come along. Good encounter going on between Singapore and Malaysia. Looking at the bowling chain, so we've got a bowling chain. Ananta Krishna is coming to the attack. Singapore truly going in here for the kill. They've brought in their ace leg spinner to come in and create a bit more havoc into the Malaysian batting lineup. Having a wrist spinner in the squad is always very handy, Cash.
Yes, and another player, Ananta knows this ground very well. It is his home ground as well.
Good start by Ananta. Gets it up there. Certainly, every time you start bowling leg spin, you have a little bit of nerves going in, but good start. Got it up there. Got the batsman driving.
That's what you want. Faiz trying to come down the ground there, down the wicket, I mean.
So Malaysia would have come into their batting thinking there are a couple of bowlers they would want to target from Singapore in order to get the momentum going. So you can already see that they have a bit of a positive intent when they see a leg spinner, but that's where there's an opportunity for Singapore to capitalize as well.
As Virendeep takes another single, hitting down too long on where Surrender fires a throw back in.
Short ball from Ananta, but hit straight to square leg. Started off really well. First two balls up there. Probably wanted to contain the batsman and pulled his length a bit shorter. Key ball here for Ananta.
Much better ball.
Great fielding by Rohan. He really elevates Singapore's fielding with his fielding at point. He brings a lot of coverage on the field. Rohan Rangaraja.
Oh yes, very fit young fella. Another cricketer to come through the local ranks. I believe he was 15 or 14 even when he played his first game for Singapore, or 15 was he? We just we're having a bit of a laugh here in the commentary room. Someone just told me 10. Rohan Rangarajan.
Good shot by Faiz. Rocked back onto the back foot and cut it square to the sweeper for one. Yeah, Virendeep back on strike. Faiz and Virendeep are not new to Singapore conditions. In fact, they play Premier Division as part of the SCA League here in Singapore as well. So they would know these grounds extremely well.
Yes, and Malaysia needs them to come to the party in this innings. And back to Rohan Rangarajan. Folks, yes, he was 15 when he first played for Singapore. Still only 19 or 20, I believe. His best years are ahead of him as dot balls played out.
Yeah, certainly exciting talent. In fact, during the recently concluded Emerging Player Series in Singapore, he scored a 143 in the finals, which brought him a lot of recognition. Great fielding by Tim in point, cutting that down from a possibly 3 runs to 1. So Singapore's fielding and bowling have certainly held them in good stead in the recent past. Great efforts by the coach, the coaching setup. Not only have they had a head coach in Bilal Asad, but they've also had a bowling coach in the form of Fahad Masood working on their fitness.
And boy, does he work them hard on their fitness. Fahad Masood, former first-class fast bowler from Pakistan, their bowling and fitness coach.
Absolutely, and I've just been told they've also had Mr. Rehan, who's been helping them with their fielding as well. So, and you can certainly see the results in the way the team's been progressing. Great shot by Viren. One thing about Virendeep, he's got that lazy lankiness sort of to his batting, but he's extremely effective and he plays spinners with ease.
Yes, he does have a lot of time on his hands. Watches the ball very early. A hallmark of all great players who score big out there.
Talking about score big, Virendeep's partner Ahmed Faiz is on the is at the crease at the moment. Also scored a century in the SEA Games, which was the 50-over event, and which won Malaysia the gold medal during that event. So an extremely important pair batting at this point. That's it, up in the air. Janak's come underneath and he's taken a fantastic catch again.
Long off. Just what Malaysia didn't need.
We were just talking about the composure of Virendeep, Cash.
Yes. I mean, he settled in nicely at this stage in the 10th over.
The pressure was certainly getting to him. He's faced 23 balls, scored 17. You're into your 9th over. Malaysia with 38 runs on the board. The writing was on the cards.
Yes. It is a game of the mind at this level. He knew it straight away. He hadn't got under it as he hit it. You could tell he had already started to walk, knowing that the ball's going to be caught.
It's a difficult situation that Malaysia are in right now. You face 9 overs. You want to get the momentum going towards your end, but with 4 wickets down, getting into the middle order, certainly going to be an uphill task here. But it's really important that calculated risks are taken at the right time.
Tried to cut there, but there was no room for him.
That's a short ball by Ananta, but whacked straight to square leg. The new batsman come in is Mohammad Siadat Ramli, another experienced campaigner with the Malaysian squad.
They're definitely going to need him to draw on all that experience to be able to give them a chance to put up a decent score from here. They would need to add at least another 60 in the last 10.
That's a shot down the ground, and it's gone all the way. Extremely brave batting by Mohammad Siadat, just coming into the crease. Second ball down the track, straight over the bowler's head. That's the confidence that Malaysia needs at this point. They have to take the calculated risks, and that in that ball it actually paid off. Great batting, just nudged it onto the leg side for 1 run. It's important that Malaysia has someone who comes in and just gets assertive and drags the Malaysian team towards a good total.
Indeed. You want that positive intent.
That's the word I was looking for.
In the end, fortune favours the brave.
Singapore have decided that spin's the way forward, and Vinod Bhaskaran's come in. He's done really well to open up the bowling for Singapore in the games preceding these ones. He's kept things really tight, always targeted the batsman's pads, and it's not gone for too many runs in his short career with Singapore so far.
Yeah, smart cricketer he is. Thinker.
Very traditional left arm, orthodox action, just walking straight through into the crease. Nice high arm release and going through the ball. Nothing uncomplicated about it.
It was a bit of a nothing shot really, as you saw there, Timothy on the crease, in the field.
Tucked away by Faiz for a single. Faiz, who scored that century during the SEA Games, is also now a program coordinator for the Bukit Jalil Sports School cricket program. So was Shafiq Sharif, as part of the Malaysian squad, which is an education scholarship for cricketers around the country, which is a fantastic initiative.
I would have to agree with that, Sharon.
I was watching the interview the other day as well, and the president was saying that most of them are contracted players, and the fact that they're giving back to the system in the form of education and cricket is just really good to see.
Definitely. Nice bit of keeping there by young Manpreet Singh. Single to end the over. 49. Oh, 50. 50 up for Malaysia in the 11th over. What's the bare minimum, Sharon, can you get away with on this ground if you were to defend? What would you want to have at least on the board? What number?
If you're looking at the current Singapore batting setup, you need to get somewhere in the likes of 140, 150 for sure. They're playing at home, they're playing on their home ground, a lot of depth in the batting, and a lot of brave cricketers as well. So certainly 150 would be idealistic, but if you look at 50 for 4, Malaysia would do really well to get in the 120, 125 space.
Looking more and more unlikely, although if you're a Malaysian cricket fan,
समयसँगै मानिसको आकृति र अनुहार फेरिन्छ समय र फेरिएको त्यो अनुहारले कर्म अनुसारको अनुभव बटुलेको हुन्छ निरन्तर
वारी पनि सल्लो पारी पनि सल्लो ल्याउन पाए बल्दो
4 बर्खा जस्ताको टहरामा बिताएका धेरै भूकम्प प्रभावितको घरबास अहिले कस्तो छ त
निर्भा चल्दो त्यस्तो भन्थे
पहिला कस्तो थियो आमा घर भुइँचालो भन्दा अगाडि
सबै कुरो राखन धरन यताउति कोठो भित्र भडार खाट यताउति जम्मै थियो
पनि मेरो पीडा त मैसँग छ नि
समय सीमा भित्र यदि उहाँहरूले घर बनाउन सक्नु भएन भनेदेखि जुन 50,000 रुपैयाँ उहाँलाई लिइसक्नु भएको छ त्यो पनि फिर्ता गर्नुपर्ने हुन्छ
त्यही ठाउँमा पहिरो गयो भने हामी चाहिँ कहाँ घर भने त्यो पनि अब हेर्नु पर्यो हेरौँला भन्दा हुँदै कि मान्छे मरेपछि औषधि गरेर त भएन
यही बस्नले व्यवस्थापन गर्न गाह्रो हुँदो रहेछ
ए कान्छा घर छैन कटेजको बास भयो बात्न पनि
यसपालिको साझा सभा आइतबार राति 9 बजे
ब्रह्माण्डमा रहेका अनन्त ऊर्जा शक्ति अनि त्यसले पार्ने प्रभावहरू कसरी गर्ने वास्तु ऊर्जाको व्यवस्थापन कसरी जोड्ने ऊर्जा सहितको जीवन हामी गर्छौं व्यवस्थापन ग्रह गणितको शान्तिको खोजीमा समुन्नतिको यात्रामा हातेमालो ज्योतिष र वास्तुको
spelling new words.
so far. Another dot ball by Ananta.
Great shot, rock back onto the back foot, pushed it away to a long on for a single.
Yeah, Singapore won't mind these singles.
And he's got him.
Smart stumping there.
And he's got him. Wild hoik by Ahmed Faiz. A lot of these experienced Malaysian cricketers, in order to create something, losing their shape and not hitting the ball cleanly. And that's just another example.
Yes, I would have to agree. And weren't you mentioning that Faiz also plays in a local league here?
Absolutely, he does, yes.
So he would also be familiar with the IA pitch.
Yeah, absolutely. But this is what pressure does to you, and this is what expectations of getting a good score as well does. So, again, if you look at it, 12 overs, 57 for 5. Yeah, it's very important that someone can come in and with a steady head, but at the same time are able to take that calculated risk. What Siadat just has been doing since he's come in.
Yes, but from the batting side of it, with 5 wickets down and now getting into the lower middle order, how familiar are you with the rest of the lineup? Do they have any more good batters left?
Generally, at this level, you will have capable batsmen. And considering they've played a lot of Singapore and they know the different players, but you'd need someone to really stick their hand out. So, Aminuddin Ramli's also been part of the setup, and Siadat up probably their last hope.
Yeah, well, someone will need to stick around with him to allow him to do the job. Rotate strike.
Saeed Aziz, who got out trying to hit Vijay Kumar Salador over long gone, was a massive scalp for Singapore. In fact, the last season just gone by, he's got a double century in the Premier League for CSC.
Wow.
So I'm sure he would have been coming into this tournament with a bit of confidence, a bit of runs in his belt. So that was a massive scalp for Singapore.
Good job by Singapore so far, as Vijay comes to bowl his last over. As you can see, the scoreboard on the screen now stands corrected, 3.1 overs. Single off that first ball, Ramli on strike, facing his first ball.
Well played. Straight through to covers for 1 run. Cash, you were mentioning Singapore and Malaysia playing a lot of cricket against each other. So just for the public domain, or just for public knowledge, a couple of tournaments that they play against each other is the Saudara Cup that they've been playing since 1970s, and the Stan Nagaya since 1994. How much of exposure have you had to these tournaments?
I have watched some of the matches. I covered the Stan Nagaya trophy last year, which Singapore won with a clean sweep, if I recall correctly, as this one has been hoiked out towards cow corner, cut off nicely by the fielder there for a couple.
Good intent there again by Siadat. He's certainly batting on another surface at this point.
Yes, so Stan Nagaya trophy is named after Stanley Nagaya, who played for both the old Malaya, when Singapore used to be part of Malaysia, as well as for Singapore. Hence the Stan Nagaya Trophy. And as I was saying to the audience earlier, a battle between these two teams, as the batsmen head out towards covers, cut off by the sweeper there for another single. Celador ending the 4 overs and 2 for 11. Brilliant effort there by Celador as usual. So I was referring to the series or matches between these two teams as the Ashes of Southeast Asia, and I wouldn't be too far off it of this particular match as well. I'm just going to try and get a look at the numbers.
Just on that point, I've got a really interesting stat here. The Saudara Cup has been played since the 1970s, and Malaysia lead Singapore 13-9.
Yes, I was looking that up earlier today as well. They do, but Singapore has definitely caught up. It used to be 13-6 to Malaysia.
Janak Prakash back into the attack, hit down the ground by Siadat for a single. And what's really interesting is Saudara in Malay means kinship. And the fact that they have a Saudari Cup as well for the women's team just goes to show that as much as there's competitive cricket, there's actually good relationships between the two nations.
Oh yes, I was saying that earlier off the field. There's great camaraderie. As Ramli tries to charge at young Janak Prakash, resulting in nothing. So I was also looking up the history of cricket in Singapore and Malaysia, and the first recorded mention of cricket in Singapore was in 1837. My apologies.
It's a short ball and he's gotten away with it. And
It's
just
a
that's
slower
the first
bouncer.
Yeah, one for the over.
It's a slower bouncer too. Nicely bowled there by Janak. So the first recorded mention of cricket in Singapore was in 1837, when a Mr. Z or Mr. Z complained in a letter to the Singapore Free Press of cricket being played near a church on a Sunday in violation of the Christian Sabbath.
He's absolutely creamed that ball to sweeper. Sweeper cover for 1. Malaysia 64 for 5 after 13.4 overs. Mohammad Siadat looking really good, and to Malaysia's need and benefit, it's really important that he stays to the very end. From a points table perspective, folks, Singapore standing at the top with 3 points after 2 games. It's the 3rd game being played.
Yes, and as you can see on the points table, or as you saw on the points table, it is essentially a must-win for all the teams to give themselves a chance.
The loss that Nepal had to Qatar right at the start of the tournament really was a major setback for them.
Yes, and that's what has thrown the table open as well. Nepal supposed to be the strongest team out of the 5 based on ICC rankings. Tried to hit that straight down the ground over the bowler's head. I think Janak Prakash managed to get a little bit of a tip on it to slow the ball down. Another single. Good over completed by Janak, only 4 runs off it. Bringing back that history of cricket in Singapore bit I was reading, you guys. So essentially, with that complaint in 1837 by Mr. Z, this resulted in cricket being banned on Sundays, a prohibition that remained in place until the 1930s. Would you believe it? They were not allowed to play cricket in Singapore on Sundays for that many years.
I won't complain with that, Cash.
Okay, all you young cricketers out there watching, ignore that comment from Sharon. If you love your cricket, you want to go out there and play it as much as you can.
Absolutely, Cash. I wasn't. I was catering to the target audience over the age of 35 years. So
Yes, with the wives on your back.
देखिन्छ कसैलाई राज्यको सम्पत्ति चाहिँ दिइन्छ भने प्रतिस्पर्धा गरेरै दिनुपर्छ। यदि प्रतिस्पर्धा गरेर नदिने हो भने चाहिँ के हुन्छ भने त्यो गैर कानुनी हुन्छ।
2073 सालमा प्राधिकरणले बिना टेन्डर 10 वर्षका लागि भद्रकालीलाई खम्बा व्यवस्थापन गर्न दिएको थियो, जबकि महानगरपालिकाले त्यसको 1.5 महिना अघि नै प्रतिस्पर्धा गराएर करिब 11 गुणा बढी रोयल्टी आउने सम्झौता गरिसकेको थियो। यसरी राज्य कोषमा जम्मा हुन सक्ने ठूलो रकम व्यक्तिका खातामा जाने गरी सम्झौता गर्ने अधिकारीलाई कसले कारबाही गर्ने? कान्तिपुर समाचार।
Okay, my apologies, folks. It's Rohan who is on strike. Surinder at the non-striker's end. And I figured that out because of that I didn't see that little shimmy of the front leg just before the bowler comes in to bowl that Surinder does. Rohan off the mark with that single in the covers.
Played that down well. Well judged single. Good understanding between the two batsmen. Very important, especially in T20 cricket, because
favorite area, is that why he's taken that stance, do you think? He wants to hit the ball in a certain area, Zubin?
I've never really been big on stance. It's never made that much of a difference to me. I think what I look for is the balance, and how quickly a player is able to get into position. I mean, talking about stances and talking about twitches, I mean, Stephen Smith is a classic example. I mean, you would not, if you didn't know him and you saw him bat in a net, you'd wonder what that man was doing with a bat. But he is he's probably the best, in my opinion, the best test batsman. The only thing I find about Surendran is he